Threading the sewing machine. Winding a bobbin. Step 1. Place your spool of thread on the spool pin and put your spool pin cap on the end. This will keep your threads from falling off of the spool pin. Step 2. Wrap the thread around the bobbin tension disc. Make sure that it really clicks between these two layers, otherwise you might lose your thread. Step 3. There is a small hole on both sides of the bobbin, not the large one in the middle, but the one on the side. Push the thread through one of these smaller holes, starting on the inside of the bobbin and coming out on the outside. Place your bobbin onto the bobbin winder with the thread coming out of the top and hold it with your hand. Step 4. Click the bobbin winder over to the right. This indicates to your machine that you are ready to wind a bobbin. Pull out your hand wheel so that your needle is disengaged, meaning that the needle will not move while you wind your bobbin. Step 5. Hold the end of the thread straight up into the air and gently put your foot down on the pedal so that your bobbin will begin to turn. Once the thread has wrapped around the bobbin a bit, you can trim the end of the thread. Now put your foot on the pedal until you have wound the amount of thread that you want on your bobbin. You can keep winding until the bobbin is completely full. Eventually, the thread will run into the stopper and it will stop. You can stop winding at any time before this if you don't think you need a full bobbin for your project. Cut the thread anywhere between your spool and your bobbin. Push the bobbin winder back to the left and push the hand wheel back in. Threading the machine. Step 1. Take the thread off of your spool, unhooking it from the bobbin winding tension disc. Start at the back of the machine and behind the first arrow. Then bring the thread down the first channel. At the bottom, there's an arrow that indicates curving the thread up and around. Step 2. The next part can be a little tricky. Turn your hand wheel until your take-up lever is up. Bring your thread behind the take-up lever from right to left, pulling the thread forward until it clicks into the take-up lever. If it hasn't clicked in, you aren't finished. Bring your thread down through the same channel again. Step 3. There's a small bar above the needle with an opening on the left. Bring your thread over to the left of the bar and hook in by pulling the thread forward. Step 4. Now thread the needle, front to back, and pull the thread through, giving yourself a long tail to work with. Threading the bobbin. Step 1. When you hold the bobbin up in the air, you can see that the thread can fall in two different ways. The tail of the thread can either make a bobbin look like a lowercase q or a p. We want to make it a P for perfect. When you have your P for perfect bobbin, place it into your bobbin casing. Step 2. Hook the thread into the metal notch at the bottom of the bobbin, closest to you, and pull the thread over to the left. Step 3. Before putting your cover back on the bobbin, we want to make sure that the thread is pulled through the center of the throat plate by picking it up with the top thread. Do this by holding onto the top thread and turning the hand wheel one full rotation, meaning that the needle will go down and come back up while the take-up lever disappears and then pops back up. This is one full stitch on the sewing machine. By holding onto the top thread, you will see the thread will pick up the bobbin thread underneath, creating a loop coming out of the throat plate. Pull this loop of thread all the way through. You should now have two pieces of thread, one coming out of the needle and one coming out of the bobbin. Place both underneath the presser foot and replace the bobbin cover.